Hey guys, what's up? It's CS back here with another installment, and here's my prediction video for UFC 149 Faber versus Barão. Now, first off, I want to say I'm sorry for not making a review of Strikeforce Rockhold versus Kennedy. I've been really tied up this week with work and some other plans. It is summer. I'm trying to enjoy myself with other things besides YouTube. It's not like I don't enjoy making YouTube videos. It's just, for once I had things higher up on the priority list, so sorry about that, guys. But if you feel like asking me anything thoughts-wise about Strikeforce Rockhold versus Kennedy, please do so in the comment section below or on Facebook or Twitter. But as for this event, what are my thoughts? Overall, I don't mind the card in terms of its quality. I think we've seen worse. The reason I don't mind the quality is because I'm not paying for this shit. Now, if I didn't have, a computer to stream this shit, if there were, no bars that were going to hold this fight, and broadcast it, if I had to pay for it, that was like my only means of watching this shit, then I'd be upset. But if you are actually UFC Zuffa Zombie Slave and you have to pay for this shit, then hey, I feel bad for you, but at the same time, I don't feel bad for you because you're dumb enough to pay for this one. It's just not a good look in terms of what we have on here. Chris Clements, Matt Riddle on the main card. Enough said. Let's not ramble on about the quality that much. Let's just run through this main card, shall we? Again, preliminary card picks like usual in the description below. Let's start off. Bantamweight interim title on the line. Renan Barão versus Uriah Faber. Renan Barão poses a lot of threats for Uriah Faber. Like Faber saw in the Jose Aldo bout. This guy's going to be more athletic than he is. He's going to be a more dynamic striker, although he's not going to have the leg kicks Jose Aldo had. His striking attack, Barão's, is just as diverse, and for the most part, Faber should be losing on the feet unless he's able to get this fight in transition. But Renan Barão's a little bit more offensive in the transition game compared to Jose Aldo, so Faber has some shit to worry about there as well. I think he's a better jiu-jitsu guy than Aldo, and I think he's just as good an athlete. So how does Barão lose if I think all this stuff of him? I think Barão will lose if he gets a little too complacent. He might get caught in the guillotine if this actually winds up in transition. And I think there's potential that he gasses over the course of 5 rounds. Uriah Faber, I don't think we have to judge his gas tank. If you do tire out towards later rounds, he'll probably take advantage with that alpha male guillotine or finish you via TKO or some shit. However, if they both have energy and they're both going at it close to 100%, I've got to go with Barão all day, every day. Again, he does pose the same threats as Jose Aldo did against Faber. He's going to be a better athlete. He's going to use better lateral movement. He's going to stay away from the transition game of the California Kid, you know what I'm saying? So look for Barão to land leg kicks here and there, maybe some flying knees. But if he does get taken down, I think he's going to be able to pop back up. I think he's pretty darn good at it. I think he might be able to out-wrestle Uriah Faber in the clinch as well sometimes. I just think that his combinations and his diverse striking attack and his athleticism is going to be too much for Faber over the course of 5 rounds. I think he takes this decision at least 48-47. If Faber wins a round or two, I think it's going to be maybe in the later rounds as Barão starts to slow down. However, I think Faber is going to have taken a lot of damage in the first 3, so I don't think he has a chance to make it close. I think it's going to be clear. Renan Barão, unanimous decision. I don't see either of these guys getting finished, unless maybe Barão's dead tired or Faber just leaves his chin out there. I think both are highly unlikely, actually, because I think Barão's taking this rather seriously. So yeah, again, I think Barão's going to have the energy to stay away from Faber's transition game and outstrike him with his diverse array of Muay Thai strikes, knees, leg kicks, combinations. I think he'll do what he needs to do to win at least a 48-47 decision. Again, let's move on to that middleweight co-main event between Hector Lombard and Tim Boetsch. Yeah, sick fight. Hector Lombard making his UFC debut against someone fairly exciting in Tim Boetsch. He is a wrestler, however, he does like to slug it out on feet, and when he is on top of you on the ground, he's not laying preying on you. He's trying to finish you with some nasty ground pound, and his jiu-jitsu is improving as well. For the most part, I don't think Tim Boetsch is going to be that intent on getting it to the ground because I think he will maybe have that game plan as soon as he gets hit by Lombard a few times. Lombard hits like a dump truck, and I think he hits harder than anyone Tim Boetsch has fought yet. So with Boetsch's, relative ease to get hit, Tim Boetsch doesn't exactly have the greatest, striking defense. I think that Lombard is eventually going to scare Tim Boetsch to the point where Tim Boetsch reverts to wrestling, and his wrestling's not going to be as effective when getting shook up by those Lombard punches. So, yeah, I think Lombard's eventually going to land something that hurts Boetsch to the point where Boetsch drops, and I think Lombard finishes in the second round with that TKO due to strikes. Yeah, I think Tim Boetsch, though, if he's intent on getting this to the ground, Lombard doesn't exactly have the greatest lateral movement. Maybe Tim Boetsch is able to cage and prey Lombard and out-judo him. However, I think that's highly unlikely because Lombard is solid from the clinch, and he's very hard to take down. Tim Boetsch not exactly the explosive double leg type, so I think Tim Boetsch is just going to play into Lombard's game. Again, I'm calling for a second round TKO due to strikes for Hector Lombard. And now let's move on to the heavyweight battle between Cheick Kongo and Sean Jordan. Easy fight for me to pick. Gotta go with Cheick Kongo here all day, every day. Sean Jordan, not exactly the most accurate striker. I think he's going to come in there with, some sort of Mike Winkeljohn game plan and just wait for an opening and try to land an overhand right. And I just don't think he's going to hit one against Cheick Kongo. I think Cheick Kongo's kickboxing skills are going to be on point in this fight. Not the greatest striker out there, but technically he is pretty sound. And I think he hits hard enough to trouble Sean Jordan. But ultimately, I think Cheick Kongo wins this fight in the clinch. I think he's going to be first to initiate some cage and prey. I think he's going to look to take Sean Jordan down. I don't think Sean Jordan is going to have the technical expertise in terms of wrestling to defend Cheick Kongo takedowns. Once Cheick Kongo gets on top after the takedown, I think he's going to be able to land some shots from guard, maybe pass, and just win via ground and pound TKO. So yeah, I got Cheick Kongo being able to do this sometime in round 2, if not unanimous decision. Actually, Cheick Kongo, unanimous decision. I changed my mind. Cheick Kongo doesn't have the greatest fighter IQ. I think he can easily tool Sean Jordan with, the skills he has. It's just, I just think he's going to come in there, waltz in, win a UD, play kind of safe. So yeah, I don't think Cheick Kongo is going to be as aggressive as I initially did. So yeah, Cheick Kongo, UD. Again, via that cage and prey and ground and pound. Now let's move on to Bryan Ebersole and James Head in welterweight. Bryan Ebersole is like a 5-1 favorite in this fight or some shit like that, I think. Kind of crazy. James Head, he has some skills. His jiu-jitsu is alright. His striking is solid. But Bryan Ebersole, I think, should be able to look comfortable everywhere. If he's not going to look comfortable, I think it will be on defeat. James Head, he's a bigger middleweight. He hits kind of decently hard. I think that might be able to trouble Bryan Ebersole, but I think Bryan Ebersole is going to initiate the clinch really fast, take this fight to the ground, get on top, use some solid ground pound, maybe score TKO. But I think he's pretty comfortable at this welterweight class. He cuts weight effectively. I know he wants to move down to lightweight. However, I don't think he's a small enough middleweight to get, troubled by the size that is James Head. Ebersole looked pretty good against a huge TJ Wahlberger. So yeah, I think he'll do fine against James Head again. Well-rounded game plan. Be able to strike with Head on the feet, not get troubled by Head's power, and be able to get this thing to the ground on top, land some ground pound, and possibly win via finish. But I'm going to call via unanimous decision for Bryan Ebersole, at least 29-28. And now, last but not least, Chris Clements versus Matt Riddle in welterweight. Really don't care, but I'm going to go with Matt Riddle here. I think he's a better brawler than Chris Clements, and I think he is a little bit more athletic, plus he has the wrestling to fall back on if he gets troubled on the feet. Chris Clements, takedown defense, not good. Yeah, Matt Riddle for the win, unanimous decision. If he somehow gets out-brawled, wouldn't be surprised, but then again, it's not like I would care. Whatever, Matt Riddle, UD. Now, I'd rather see Court McGee, Nick Ring on the preliminary card kicking us off. I think that'd be interesting. However, they need to headline the preliminary card with something, so that's what that is. Shout out to both those guys. I like them. But yeah, the rest of the preliminary card I really don't mind as well, so stay tuned for that too. Again, my preliminary card picks are in the description below. I think that about does it for my predictions for UFC 149, Faber versus Barão. Hopefully you guys enjoy the event. Again, I can't believe they're making cards like this. I mean, this should be on a Fuel or FX card. I understand this has been hampered with injuries and shit, but make this card free somehow, please. You know what I'm saying? But whatever, we'll see. Hopefully it ends up at least exciting, because I don't care much for these cards, this card, so I can just hope for an exciting card if I want any positive out of this shit. So yeah, stay tuned for my review. Hopefully you guys will, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for all the support. Deuces for all my supporters, roosters for all my haters, and take care.